Welcome to the Rock Music Alliance interview sessions. I'm your host, Cole Coleman, along with keyboardist Claudio Pesavento from Mahogany Rush and the Chris Squire Band. On our show today, he's a singer-songwriter, an actor, and a model whose voice and looks bring to mind the legend of Jim Morrison. But he's got his own style and releases under his name, and he has releases with the band Sensi Trails. So welcome to our show, Kyle Rising.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Kyle. Now, Kyle, when you first started in music, what musical style were you into and what were you playing?
Well, when I first started, I was doing rock and bluegrass and country music when I was a kid. That was a long time ago. And yeah, that was when I was growing up on the East Coast. And so, like, a lot of my influences were folk, Americana, of course, classic rock and those types of things. And then later on, I got into like some of like the reggae stuff when I was in high school. Moved out of San Diego, and I was well, actually, at first I was in Outer Banks, North Carolina. I started a reggae band there called Sensi Trails, and then took it out to San Diego. Continued that for a while, and a bunch of things happened, but the band kind of dissolved. And around that same time, I had a cover of People Are Strange that went viral on the internet. And from that, I decided I was just going to start a solo career under my own name, with a band, of course, but just under my name. And that's kind of like my whole musical adventure in a nutshell.
Gotcha. So, like, at what point in your life and what was the catalyst that drew you into replicating Jim Morrison's style and redoing a Doors song?
Well, a lot of people would tell me, like fans and stuff, they would say, "Oh, you remind me of Jim Morrison. You remind me of Jim Morrison." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And people would ask me to do Doors covers, and for a while, I wasn't interested in doing that because I don't want to be somebody else. I don't want to. That doesn't have a lot of interest to me. And then one day I decided to do it, and I put it up on the internet, not really thinking much of it, and it just got a bunch of attention. So I followed it up with a couple more, and yeah, that's kind of where all that came from.
Gotcha. Now, with the Doors song "L.A. Woman" and the very famous lyric "Mr. Mojo Rising," and you sounding a bit like Jim Morrison, it sounds like your name might just be a stage name, is it?
No, that's my real name. Rising is my last name.
That's an interesting last name. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's my family name.
That's great now. That's great. Well, tell us about the band Sensi Trails. Are you still involved with that band?
So that's a band I started when I was like 19 or 18 years old, in Outer Banks. And I went through several lineup changes. I brought it out to San Diego, toured for 5, 6 years. And then in the past year or so, have been pursuing other things. But I mean, the music's still there and will always be there. And it was a very special moment, a special time in my life. And yeah, I mean, I learned a lot. It was great. And I might still release songs under that name again soon. I don't know.
Gotcha. I heard you say you're from the Outer Banks. Is that North Carolina?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, the land of Blackbeard the pirate. Now, I see that in 2023, Sensi Trails released a reggae version of the Doors song "People Are Strange." It's really, really good, I think. And whose idea was it to remake that song in a reggae style? Go ahead.
Well, it was my idea along with Ian Young, the producer of the song. So, him and we've made most of the Sensi Trails studio records together. It was just mainly him and I. And so yeah, I mean, he did a lot of the instrumentation work, and I did the singing, I did the vocals and the guitar, and I think that's it. I think he did the rest of it, if I can recall correctly.
Right. So you did play the guitar. I mean, did you do the soloing in that song too?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Claudio, have you checked that one out?
I check everything.
I hear you. Yeah, I think it's really, really good. Well, I tell you what, guys, let's take a quick listen to that track so people listening can hear what we're talking about. Yeah, here's just 30 seconds of Kyle Rising and Sensi Trails with their remake of the Doors song People Are Strange on the Rock Music Alliance.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down.
Very cool, man. I really, really enjoy the remake of that song. You know, it's great when a band remakes a well-known song in such a different style, you know, a style that you're not really even thinking of, you know, from the original. And, you know, I've gone my whole life and I've never once thought of doing that song in a reggae style. And it works really well.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun making it, and you know, it got a great response. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, if anybody listening, that song, go check it out. If you're at a beach resort somewhere and you're playing reggae, add this to your repertoire because it's just too cool. You know, the syncopation, you know, the traditional Doors sound of the vocals. It's great. It's great. Now, since that release, I see more Kyle Rising solo releases. So, you know, are you really focusing more on just your solo career at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. And do you record and produce yourself? I heard you mention Ian. Do you have like a home studio?
I do. Yeah, I do. All the Kyle Rising releases. Oh, actually, no, I can't say that. Not all of them, but the newest one. I do most of the work on them, and then like I have friends that help here and there. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, Claudio does a lot of recording. I'm sure. I mean, if you ever need anything, you know, ring up Claudio. He's a great player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I only have 9 fingers. That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, your latest release as a solo artist is the single "Scarlet Sentiment," and we're going to listen to a little bit of that. But Kyle, why don't you set that up for the listeners? You know, tell us, what is that song about?
Well, it was mainly just a fictional sort of dream I had. And, you know, it doesn't really, it's kind of just open to interpretation. It's hard for me to say. It was just kind of something that came out of my head. It doesn't really, it was a dream. It really was. And yeah, it was all just a fictional story that actually became relatable after the fact. So that was kind of interesting, but yeah, it's kind of open to interpretation to the listener, really.
Which is great, you know, and that's a lot of music is like that. I often think, you know, some of the greatest music that I've enjoyed, the lyrics are, you know, they're just vague enough that you can you know, put, like you say, it's open for interpretation and paints pictures in your mind, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
What was it like to play with Robby Krieger?
It was cool, man. Robby was awesome. Such a nice guy, really down to earth, really fun to chat with. Yeah, I mean, just to work alongside a legend was really cool.
Oh,
yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, we'll jump. Yeah,
Sorry?
we'll jump back on that in just a sec. We were just talking about his song "Scarlet Sentiment." So I'll tell you what, you know, guys, let's give that a listen real quick. So once again, people know what we're talking about. So here's a little sample of Kyle Rising's song "Scarlet Sentiment" on the Rock Music Alliance.
But I'm just trying to find my scarlet sentiment. No, it's true. I need a taste of you. Scarlet sentiment left a scar on me. Cut my wrist, gave me a kiss, and it left me there to breathe. She pushed my body in the river and watched me flow downstream. Time me on my shoulder when I looked over. It was all a dream, yeah. It was all a dream.
Yeah, there you go. You know, you can see how different that your own solo style can be from the doors. You know, you don't have to get locked into that. Definitely not. You're definitely not locked into it on that. And Sensi Trails, you know, so I'm glad you're really, you know, pursuing your own thing as well, Kyle. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like you've settled into a solo style for yourself, or do you feel like you might be doing different things with different releases?
You know, it's just kind of whatever I feel like. The style is, you know, what you hear there is certainly a huge part of it. It's something that is kind of all over the place, really. I mean, I have so many musical interests that it's hard to just lock into a particular style, you know, for the rest of my life or whatever. I mean, I have so many different things I like to do. So, but I think it's still easy to identify that it's me, you know. And whether it's like rock or reggae or country or whatever it is, like you'll still hear my sound in there.
Right.
Your lyrics, sorry.
No, go ahead, Claudio.
Your lyrics are based on experiences, on women, on.
Yeah, I mean it's a mix of just like life in general, and sometimes like I was saying, like the last song that we heard was a lot. It just kind of comes to me sometimes, and it's like a story that I just want to tell, and build around a rhyme scheme, you know. Yeah, I mean that one in particular, that's kind of how that one came out. But there's other ones that are a little more personal, you know, a little more involved in reality. And I have a bunch of more releases coming out. I'm gonna release one more song this year, and then a few more in the spring before I put out the full record. So
yeah, I think once again, I think that's great, Kyle. And you know, maybe I hope that'll be an asset to you, that you can do, you know, different styles, different things. Maybe that's the mark of a real songwriter. You know, it's amazing to me when you know, really prolific writers out there are able to focus on a particular style so well. Like I'm thinking of David Grohl right now. And there's many other examples, you know, because I myself, I'm not a super prolific writer, but I've got songs in like a way different styles, you know.
yeah.
and I got to write them. I have to put them out there, you know. It's like I got some songs that are definitely kind of folk Americana. I've got some songs that are like a melodic hard rock and metal with symphonic, you know, soundscapes. And you know, I've written 3 or 4 Christmas songs, you know. So but you got to do it. I think you got to let the tune out.
Sure. Yeah.
I like to write songs that makes women cry.
That's a good thing, Claudio. That goes over real big at concerts. You know, I wrote one song that's like that, and I got to tell you, it's a heck of an experience. Kyle, I'm sure you've probably seen this too.
Kyle has so many songs that makes women cry, I'm sure.
yeah. This song that I performed in a band called Yesteryear, and I just, you know, wrote the song, and we're performing it, and after just a little while, I started noticing, like, we would start to play the song, and you could see people out in the audience singing with you. You know, they know the words, and I was like, oh my God, like, you know, wow, they actually really know the song. This is cool. And the last time I performed that song live was at a nightclub that held around 800 people or so, and we started to play that song, and when they lit up their lighters, you know, that was another shocking moment for me. It was like, wow, I just can't believe these people, they actually really know the song. It's a great feeling.
That's amazing.
I paid them at the door to make sure they knew the song.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to do it. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, let's pause here just for a quick moment and get a word from our sponsor. And when we come back, we're going to ask Kyle about Robby Krieger, and we'll be right back on the Rock Music Alliance. Attention guitar players, the Thimble Slide allows you to slide and fret, freeing your slide finger. The Thimble Slide is a mini guitar slide designed to be worn on the tip of your finger, about halfway down your fingernail. When worn there, you can still bend your finger, and most importantly, it's allowing enough of your fingertip through so you can still press the guitar strings. The Thimble Slide is larger at the back and smaller at the front, so it follows the contour of your finger. So when you're wearing the slide, it's not loose or rattling around on your finger. This also allows your other fingertips in nice and close for playing. The sizing gap allows you to make the slide a little bit larger or a little bit smaller for a nice custom fit. While wearing a thimble slide, you can of course use it as a slide. But more importantly, you can still press the strings while wearing it. So you can play chords, play lines, bend notes. Really, you can still do all the things that you need to do to keep playing guitar while wearing it. You don't have to take it off. With its patented shape, you can slide and fret while wearing the Thimble Slide. Visit thimbleslide.com. That's thimbleslide.com.
You're listening to Soren Anderson, Glenn Hughes guitar player, owner of Medley Studios Copenhagen, and you are listening to Rock Music Alliance.
We're back with Kyle Rising on the Rock Music Alliance. Kyle, I saw that you got to be the opening artist for Robby Krieger on a show, the legendary guitarist of the Doors himself. How did that come about?
Well, it was after, I released the Doors covers. A friend of mine that works with the venue or something, I can't remember exactly how it came about, but I was presented with the opportunity, pretty much through a friend. And yeah, I mean, of course I was delighted and accepted the gig. And man, that was a lot of fun. Getting to meet Robby and getting a chance to talk with an icon. I mean, just incredible times.
Did you guys play any songs together?
Actually, we did not, unfortunately. It was something where he had already had his whole thing planned out, and so we didn't get a chance to get together beforehand. We were supposed to get together and rehearse. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but hopefully next time.
But you played the Ultimate Jam, right, with him?
No, he wasn't there when I did the Ultimate Jam.
No?
No, we did a Doors song, but he wasn't there.
Oh.
He seems to do that a couple times a year, so maybe you'll be able to catch him next time he's there.
I'm surprised because I think I saw you playing with him for some reason. I guess not.
No.
My imagination.
Well, Kyle, as you branch out and doing your own solo stuff, would you? I'm sure you know the answer, but would you be open to like if having Robby as a guest on a song, or vice versa if Robby called you up?
Absolutely.
Definitely. Well, Kyle, take us back to your early days. Where were you born and raised?
So yeah, I was born in Virginia, in Williamsburg, Virginia. I grew up moving around all over that state, and I lived in West Virginia for a while. Then after high school, I moved to North Carolina to the Outer Banks. I moved around a lot with my dad's job. And I got into music through my third grade teacher, who would write songs and print out lyric sheets based off of lessons in school that we were learning. And so we'd sing along while she'd play her guitar. And it was a way to memorize whatever lesson it was, So next thing you know, you're taking the test and you're singing the song in your head and you have all the answers right, And her theory was, it doesn't matter if you like a song or not. If you hear it enough, you'll be able to, memorize it and repeat it. So I just saw the power in that, and I was like, I want to do that. I think that's cool. And so yeah, that's pretty much how I got into wanting to do songwriting and playing guitar and stuff.
That's very cool, man. I've never heard of a teacher using that method. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I've heard of lots of people using music for healing purposes,
right?
But to teach, that's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
So, was your family musical at all? Your parents or brothers and sisters?
None of them. Yeah, I was actually the only one. They, and they still aren't. Like nobody took interest in it. And so, if it wasn't for that teacher, there's a chance I would have never have been involved.
Wow, man, that's really something. So yeah. Well, I hope that launches you on your way. That'll be a great story to hear again, later on.
Yeah, it's cool too because she actually came to one of my shows in Virginia Beach about a year or two ago, and so I got to reconnect with her and tell her all these things, and yeah, that was a really special moment.
Absolutely, man. That really is. Yeah. Do you have her contact info? You can keep in touch with her?
Yeah, I still talk with her occasionally.
Yeah, that'd be great. It'd be great to like when you do like a really big show, if you can give her a pass to the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be something. Yeah, well, guys, we're coming up to the end of our show. We have time definitely for a couple more. Claudia, you got anything that you want to ask?
I just want to ask him if any artist that he influenced in his music writing.
Right. Like as you were getting into music, Kyle, was there a particular artist that was just really moving you and like that you wanted to be like when you got in?
Well, the first rock band I ever listened to was the Black Crowes.
Cool.
Shake Your Money Maker. My dad had that record when it first came out, and it was in his CD player in his truck when I was a kid. So that to me was rock and roll. And so I didn't know the band name. I didn't know anything more than just that was rock and roll. That's what I identified as rock and roll music. And so I would tell him, like, I want rock and roll. I want rock and roll when we would get in the car. And so it was the Black Crowes. And then my grandparents introduced me like Pink Floyd and Jimi Hendrix and other groups like that. So those were really influential in the beginning, especially. I mean, and still are to this day. But and the Beatles and
Led Zeppelin.
The Who. Gosh, Pink Floyd was. Oh, that was. I remember. That was often talked about. My dad also had some Pink Floyd records.
You like psychedelic music?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I really do.
It's one song that you wrote. I forgot the name now. That sounds a little bit like it could be like a psychedelic video from the 70s. Like.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was your first release, probably.
It freaks me out.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
freaks you out.
Yeah. I remember that song as well when I was checking you out. Yeah, it did have that total.
That's a good song.
Yeah, I was picturing in my mind like it sounds like I could see Go-Go Girls and the oil lamp burning in the background. It's pretty cool. Well,
There are a lot of freaky girls around. Trust me.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kyle,
Everywhere.
what was it again that inspired you to move out here to California from the Outer Banks?
Just more opportunities here. I just wanted to do more and experience more. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like where I needed to be. Anything like kind of entertainment and music.
Who are the members of your band?
Who are they right now?
Yeah, no, who are they? Their names.
Oh, Peter Coleman, and Nolan Richard, and then the bass player, his name's Jacob Homeo, but we've been using a few different people. I'm not sure if it's going to be long term or not yet, but that's who we have right now.
Peter is the guitar player, right?
Yeah, Peter and Nolan, they're locked in though for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. It's always good to have at least one or two guys that can always be your core.
Yeah,
it's always a good idea to keep an open door kind of policy. Everyone's trying to survive and do different things. So like people may come and go, but you can always keep a bridge and let them come back.
exactly.
Yeah.
I like the performance on the whiskey. You play LA Woman, or what do you play? I forgot.
LA Woman, yeah.
That was a really good, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, what's the next step for you in your solo career, and any more like live shows coming up?
Well, we're taking a break from the live shows because we're all going home for Christmas and stuff. But I'm gonna be putting out a new song this month, and just gonna be releasing a bunch of music more so than live shows right now because I want to build up the online presence and get the music out there before I continue doing shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a tough thing to do, this business, but some people just really take off. But yeah, getting it out there online and trying to get people first interested in you is of course a great way. But then again, I wouldn't turn down an opening slot if somebody offers you something.
Oh, of course not. No, I don't. I mean, I really rarely turn down gigs as a whole, you know. I mean, unless it just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I mean, I'm typically a yes man when it comes to playing live shows.
Yeah, it's a good,
Yeah.
it's a good way to be. Just play everywhere that you can, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Now, we were talking about the whiskey earlier. Do you often go to the whiskey and just hang out?
Occasionally, I really don't go out much right now. But I don't know. I will. I probably will soon. Like I've been so busy, just locked in with making music and things right now and creating that I haven't really spent much time going out.
Right, right. Oh, I understand. I understand. You know, well, we're coming up to the end here. I just want to ask maybe one more thing, and that'd be like you're a vocalist, you're a guitar player. Is there any other instruments that you play?
Yeah, I mean, I can pretty much play most of them. Piano, especially, drums a little bit, bass, banjo. Anything with a bow is kind of difficult. Yeah, I mean, I could pretty much figure them out. I think once you kind of have a basic understanding of, especially string instruments, they're all sort of similar, you know.
Right, right.
Do you do any collaborations like songwriting with anybody, or you're not interested in that?
Yeah, no, I am. I've done some in the past. Yeah, I mean, I'm always interested in doing more. Um, but yeah, I mean, I love working with other songwriters and other musicians.
I should hook you up with the guy from the Black Rose.
Yeah, that would be cool.
My
Kyle,
friend plays my friend from Argentina. He plays guitar. He's a
Oh,
new guitar player.
oh, no way.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Kyle, did you find like do lyrics come pretty easily to you?
You know, it's one of those things where when it does come easy, it's better than when it's forced. If I have, and I like with Scarlet Sentiment, that just kind of came out of nowhere. To me, it seems like all the songs are already written. It's like an ancient thing, but you have to be able to tap into that and pull it out of the universe and make it your own. And that's, you know, if I sit down and like force myself to write something, it usually
Yeah, yeah.
becomes exactly that. It becomes forced. But if I'm able to just tap into like a certain energy that I can sort of channel in that moment, then it's easy, and it's usually more natural and it just yeah, it just translates better.
Especially after midnight, right?
Well, whenever the times, you know, varies, depends on what I'm doing. It can come at any time, really. Um, and that's a lot of times what I'll do is I'll hear a lyric or melody, and I'll go to my phone
Yeah.
voice memo and just sing it into the phone or write it down, whatever's, you know, more convenient at the time.
I totally can relate to that, and really all musicians that I've really spoke to at length, we really all say the same thing. It's a fascinating thing, but it's like we're tapping into, like you say, we're tapping into the energy of the universe, and it flows through you. I've often like when that happens to me, I don't feel so much like I'm writing a song as I am expressing something that's flowing through me.
100%. That's the real way that it happens. It's magic.
It's really
Especially
amazing.
when
Yeah.
you have too many, Cole.
What's that?
Especially when you have too many
Oh,
drinks.
yeah, yeah. You can yeah, artificially connect to the source. You know.
Well, yeah, you know, substances, you can reach different levels of, you know, receptiveness, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, it can come in many different forms.
Yeah. You have to
Well,
catch it when it comes, otherwise it's gone.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it goes so fast.
I record everything.
You have to. You have to.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're doing exactly what a lot of people do, and that's, you know, have some kind of way of recording, even if you can just like hum the melody or, you know, create a beat, you know, kind of thing to anything to remind you of what the piece was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, that really is it for the time in this moment. So, Kyle, thanks very much for being here. Where
Yeah.
should people keep in touch with you at? You know, do you have a website?
Yeah, so my website's under construction right now. They've been building that thing and hammering nails into it. But you can find me on Instagram. I'm active on there more than anything right now. And then like I'll just shout out my phone number on here too. I'm just kidding. No, No, but yeah, just yeah, reach out on Instagram if you want. I usually pretty good about answering messages and stuff, and getting the website back up soon. But yeah.
Now, when the website's back up, what would be the URL?
Oh, just kylerising.com.
KyleRising.com. And on social media, just look for Kyle Rising.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there you go. There you go, folks. And, there you go. So find him on social media. And by the way, find the Rock Music Alliance on social media and like us there. You can check out all of our interviews. They're on YouTube, and we often post about them on Instagram. And see if you can find us on Patreon. And if you like what we're doing, please join us there. We appreciate your support. And look for some exclusive content there with the people we interview. So Kyle, thanks again for being our guest today on the Rock Music Alliance.
It's a pleasure.
I'm Cole Coleman, and for Claudio Pesavento, the Rock Music Alliance, and the RMA Awards, thanks for watching and listening. Visit us at rockmusicalliance.com and check out this year's RMA Awards for rock, metal, and progressive rock music.